we started off by saying that we will work with organizations of the poor, and we start with the poorest group, which is the pavement dwellers. Within that group, we will work with women's collectives as our contact with that community, and we would work for however long it takes to find strategies that solve the problem of the bottom 30%, because we believe that development never trickles down. So we did things like getting them ration cards and getting their kids to school, and looking at these kinds of entitlements and creating ways by which they could go and get it themselves. So that formed the starting point of engagement with the state, that if you were in a city, you were entitled to certain services by the fact that you were living in the city. So how can you go there and get that? That's how we started. So that you could have meetings when it's convenient for women. You have to have it near their homes. It's got to be a place where they can bring their kids. You know, all those things are very important. So we said that it had to be a neighborhood process. And we felt that that process had to be owned and managed by them. If you want people to take charge of their own aspirations, then they should also take charge of their physical space. So we started with this concept of the area resource center, saying that it would be a physical space where people could meet whenever they wanted. They would own and manage it, they would take care of it. So we said we'll call ourselves area resource centers. So Bankar came and said, you are not the area resource centers, you are the society that promotes area resource centers. So we became SPARK.
Protecting each other.
तो हमको बहुत फ़ायदा हुआ महिला मिलन में आने के बाद। झोपड़ा तोड़ना बंद किया, जो राशन कार्ड नहीं बनाया वो बन गया हमारा। बैंक में कोई हमको इज्जत नहीं देते, वो लोग देने लगे। किधर भी पुलिस स्टेशन में किधर भी जाएगा डर लगते थे। अभी सब गवर्नमेंट के साथ बात करना सीखे, गवर्नमेंट में इज्जत मिले। अभी सबसे आगे हम लोग सब मिलके पुलिस, गवर्नमेंट, स्पार्क, महिला मिलन सब मिलके अभी काम कर रहे हैं। इसलिए औरत का संगठन बनाए, उसका नाम महिला मिलन रखे। आज वो संगठन की वजह 20 साल के बाद हमको घर मिला और भी लोगों को मिलने वाला है।
So joking at this brilliant idea of saying, at the end of the day, after you finished all your shopping, you put your hand in your pocket and you look at the change that's there. You put all that change together. You pick one woman who will sit and put all that together, and you lend whoever from that group needs the money. It's all our own money, and we lend it and we borrow from it and we repay it. So it started with 8 annas, 1 rupee, 2 rupees. But it was very powerful, because when you need that 10 rupees to go and buy food in the evening, or you need 5 rupees for your bus ticket the next day to find a job, it's more important than 1,000 rupees you could have got any other time. And the fact that you could go to your neighbor in the middle of the night, bang on her door and say, just give me 10 rupees, I need it for this, I'll pay it back to you in 10 days. That's how the savings and credit program began. And one of the interesting things which Mahila Milan has turned on its head is that to nurture is to have power. When you care for somebody, you can transform them. So how can you use that with new ideas? So an interesting thing that they did, which is symbolic of this, is that in the 70s and the 80s, because of all this, the women's movement and this international movement of saying that if women have economic power, then they can get emancipated, there were many schemes that gave loans to women. So we got access to that money and we started giving money to women. So we said, no, this money is only for women. They said, why? Only women must work, men mustn't work. And that was true, because they said, so they set up a thing in which they controlled the decision making about who got the money, and they made conditions on the men who they gave loans to on how they should behave. So they re-socialize their communities through their ability to give credit.
So if we have the courage to be able to articulate how we want to live, the sky is the limit.
Coba lanjut, boy. Coba lanjut.